The words freedom and liberty are often used interchangeably in the English language, but they actually have different meanings. The official definition of freedom is an absolute state of being without any restraint or control, a broad concept of possibility and choice. Liberty, on the other hand, is a much more specific concept. It emphasizes the protection of individual rights and freedoms from arbitrary government or societal restrictions existing within a legal and ethical framework. The founders created a new nation based on individual freedom and self-government, using the word liberty to describe what they hoped to achieve. In fact, Thomas Jefferson used the words life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness in the very document that created the United States. Yet those words did not apply to everyone in this country when it was adopted July 4, 1776. In fact, 12 of the first 18 presidents of this country, elected years after Jefferson's words were confirmed as the foundation of our country, were slaveholders. Although liberty may have applied to enslaved people, they certainly were not free. Despite the fact that founders like George Washington, James Madison, and even Jefferson believed that slavery was an abominable crime, they continued that practice rather than giving every person in this country freedom. Madison felt that each state had a duty to protect citizens from the unconstitutional acts of central government. Jefferson went further, saying states could nullify unlawful acts of the central government to protect citizenry. This belief gives credence to the founder beliefs that liberty and freedom were best controlled by the state and not the federal government. Taking it a step further, Jefferson believed that liberty and power would be a problem in government. Although he felt government could create civil society, it was limited in protecting basic liberties. The Whig belief was that liberty was not born from politics, but from power constraints in a flourishing society. Securing liberty by limiting power was the backbone of the Declaration of Independence, which represented the liberty men had in society, which was distinct from the powers of the government. Despite the efforts of the founders in the creation of the Declaration, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights, formal limitations of power in government did not deal with deep moral disagreements between states when it came to freedom and liberty. Within the century, the fate of the United States, both societal and political, was in jeopardy as the country dealt with the slavery issue. The moral dilemma led to state secession, something that Madison and Jefferson both wrote was permitted if a state felt the federal government no longer protected their citizens. There is no question that this country achieved liberty through difficult actions. Liberty was achieved by declaring one church did not control politics. Liberty was achieved by challenging an absolute monarchy in order to replace a government controlled by the citizenry. Out of growing liberty came the desire for more freedoms, leading to the fight to abolish slavery, for the rights of working people, for public education, for the rights of women, and the fight for basic human rights for everyone. Yet even today, there are arguments that our freedoms can be restricted. Some claim that limiting immigration is limiting freedom. Others feel that censoring social media posts is a way to limit free speech. In 1940, Britain faced the imminence of an invasion from Germany and instituted security measures. Although these were temporary, such as requiring identity cards and restricting free speech or press, many felt that this was a threat to their freedoms. To them, it was a restriction of freedom in the name of liberty, something that was unacceptable. Locke believed that liberty was incompatible with the existence of society, while freedom was not. He felt that liberty was a natural right, while injustice was being subjected to the arbitrary will of another. In Locke's view, in order to have a just society, they must maximize liberty. There is absolutely a difference between liberty and freedom. Liberty is the absence of constraints, the belief that a person can do anything and suffer no consequences for their actions. In a civil society, however, liberty must have constraints. Freedom is a better description for civilized society as it allows people to act without asking permission in ways that are acceptable in modern society.